Hi kiddos, welcome back. We're here to read chapter 15. But before we get started, I wanted to just show you something that you can see assigned in your Google Classroom. If you log on to your Google Classroom, I did rearrange some things in there, so I think it makes a little bit more sense, and everything is arranged by your subject. So there's assignments under reading, under writing, under math, and there will be some things under science and social studies coming soon. I also have some fun activities underneath Brain Break for you to just do for fun. When you're taking a break or doing something creative. So you'll find those things there. It's just a little bit easier to navigate and a little bit more manageable, and it makes your brain work a little bit easier when you're on the computer trying to find things. So underneath reading, I did upload this. If you can see it, this is your next reading assignment. It's kind of a reading and writing assignment. You can count it for both. So it's called Because of Winn-Dixie by Kate DiCamillo. It's a character study book, and it's got several pages inside of it. And if you look inside that assignment on Google Classroom, I wrote some notes in there on how you can complete this. So this is a fun little activity, but it's also teaching you all about character traits. And in addition to this booklet, on that assignment, you'll see character trait sheets that you can also look at and print out to help you complete this. So we're all ready to chapter 15. So we've met pretty much all of the main characters in our book that we're reading. So when you open this up, it's going to show you the main characters in Winn-Dixie. And it starts with Opal. And then it moves on to Winn-Dixie. And it continues on to show all of the main characters in our story. And what I'd like you to do is, after we read aloud a chapter rather, I want you to go back and think about that character. You can illustrate that character here. And then underneath, for Opal, for example, you could write all of the traits for Opal. So if I was to describe Opal, I would think back to the beginning of the story and I would say, she may have been lonely. You may describe her as sad. You may describe her as kind-hearted. You're going to want to take a look at those character trait sheets that you'll see posted right in Google Classroom, and they'll give you ideas to describe the kind of person Opal was. Character traits are we've talked about this in class a lot. Describe what kind of person they are, what kind of character they are. So you can list those here. And then right here on the side, you are going to write your notes. Why is Opal that way? How do you know Opal is lonely? You can dot jot it right here. I know Opal is lonely because she doesn't have many friends where she has moved to. I know Opal is kind-hearted because she takes care of Winn-Dixie. I know Opal is, and you figure out your character trait. But remember, Mrs. Terranova always tells you that when you find something in the text, and this happens to be describing a character, if you're going to describe Opal and say that she is kind-hearted, you have to prove it. You have to prove it with evidence from the text. So here's where your character trait will go. Here's where you will list it and use those character trait sheets that are also in Google Classroom underneath reading to come up with different ones to describe the characters. List them here and then tell me why. Why is Opal kind-hearted? Why is Opal lonely? Tell me what happens in the book that lets you know that, okay? And do one a day. And then when you turn the page, you'll come to Winn-Dixie, and you'll do the same thing. You can illustrate Winn-Dixie. Think about how they described Winn-Dixie. He didn't look so good when we first met him, right? Then you can list character traits for him, okay? Character traits describing what kind of pet he is. Look on those lists that are in Google Classroom. Then you need to prove it to me here. Give me something from the story that proves it. What did Winn-Dixie do in the story? Winn-Dixie is friendly. That's a good character trait. Winn-Dixie is friendly. Winn-Dixie is friendly because, how do we know that? Because he helps Opal make friends, doesn't he? He ends up helping her meet new people everywhere they go around town. Perfect character trait. He's friendly. Now prove it. What happened in the text? He's friendly because he helps Opal make friends. Then try to think of another character trait. Look on the list. They're right there, loaded there. And then come up with evidence from the text. And then you can continue right in this booklet with the main characters. Okay, that's one of your assignments for this week. And it won't take you just a couple of days to do it. It'll take you a couple days. It'll take you a few days. So if this takes you into next week to finish, that's okay. Don't rush. Take your time, okay? Do some nice work for me. Look for evidence in the text, okay? Look for events that support why that character acts that way, okay? All right, chapter 15. Are we ready? Let's do it. Oh, chapter 14. We learned all about Gloria Dump and how she's very similar to Opal's mama. She had a tree in her backyard with all of the bottles hanging from it, and all of the bottles represented the ghosts of her past, of all the things she had done wrong. And we learned about all this because Opal was telling Gloria about how Otis had been in jail. So Gloria shared all of her past with Opal and decided to kind of teach her a little lesson, a nice lesson, and told her, actually said to her, you can't always judge people by the things that they've done. You've got to judge them by what they're doing now. So not to judge Otis by what he's done in the past, judge him on what he's doing now, and judge her on what she's doing now, right? Chapter 15, here we go. The Herman W. Block Memorial Library's air conditioning unit didn't work very good, and there was only one fan. And from the minute me and Winn-Dixie got in the library, he hogged it all. He lay right in front of it and wagged his tail and let it blow his fur all around. Some of his fur was pretty loose and blew right off of him like a dandelion puff. I worried about him hogging the fan, and I worried about the fan blowing him bald. But Miss Franny said not to worry about either thing, that Winn-Dixie could hog the fan if he wanted, and she had never in her life seen a dog made bald by a fan. Sometimes when Miss Franny was telling a story, she would have a fit. They were small fits, and they didn't last long. But what happened was she would forget about what she was saying. She would just stop and start to shake like a little leaf. And when that happened, Winn-Dixie would get up from the fan and sit right at Miss Franny Block's side. He would sit up tall, protecting her, with his ears standing up straight on his head like soldiers. And when Miss Franny stopped shaking and started talking again, Winn-Dixie would lick her hand and lie back down in front of the fan. Whenever Miss Franny had one of her fits, it reminded me of Winn-Dixie in a thunderstorm. There were a lot of thunderstorms that summer, and I got real good at holding on to Winn-Dixie whenever they came. I held on to him and comforted him and whispered to him and rocked him just the same way he tried to comfort Miss Franny when she had her fits. Only I held on to Winn-Dixie for another reason too. I held on to him tight so he wouldn't run away. It all made me think about Gloria Dump. I wondered who comforted her when she heard those bottles knocking together, those ghosts chattering about the things she had done wrong. I wanted to comfort Gloria Dump, and I decided that the best way to do that would be to read her a book, read it to her loud enough to keep the ghosts away. And so I asked Miss Franny. I said, Miss Franny, I've got a grown-up friend whose eyes are going on her, and I would like to read her a book out loud. Do you have any suggestions? Suggestions? Miss Franny said. Yes, ma'am, I have suggestions. Of course I have suggestions. How about Gone with the Wind? What's that about? I asked her. Why, said Miss Franny, it's a wonderful story about the Civil War. The Civil War? I said. Do not tell me you have never heard of the Civil War. Miss Franny Block looked like she was going to faint. She waved her hands in front of her face. I know about the Civil War, I told her. That was the war between the South and the North over slavery. Slavery, yes, said Miss Franny. It was also about states' rights and money. It was a terrible war. My great-grandfather fought in that war. He was just a boy. Your great-grandfather? Yes, ma'am. Litmus W. Block. Now there's a story. Winn-Dixie yawned real big and lay down on his side, with a thump and a sigh. I swear he knew that phrase. Now there's a story. And he knew it meant we weren't going anywhere real soon. Go ahead and tell it to me, Miss Franny, I said, and I sat down cross-legged next to Winn-Dixie. I pushed him and tried to get him to share the fan, but he pretended he was asleep, and he wouldn't move. I was all settled in and ready for a good story when the door banged and pinch-faced Amanda Wilkinson came in. Winn-Dixie sat up and stared at her. He tried out a smile on her, but she didn't smile back, and so he lay down again. I'm ready for another book, Amanda said, slamming her book down on Miss Franny's desk. Well, said Miss Franny, maybe you wouldn't mind waiting. I am telling India Opal a story about my great-grandfather. You are, of course, more than welcome to listen. It will be just 1 minute. Amanda sighed a real dramatic sigh and stared past me. She pretended like she wasn't interested, but she was. I could tell. Come sit over here, said Miss Franny. I'll stand, thank you, said Amanda. Suit yourself, Miss Franny shrugged. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, Litmus. Litmus W. Block. Chapter 16, we will hear all about Litmus W. Block. It's going to get really good. I'm excited. So thank you for joining me. If you have questions about our character book, just stream me a question on our Google Classroom. I can help you out, but I did put some notes in your assignment on there. And have fun with it. Do some nice work for me. And let's see. Anything else? Want to say hi? Hi. We miss you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow and do some more reading. Enjoy. Have fun. Bye.